So we're back talking about cash flow management, and we're looking at the common mistakes that business owners make when it comes to cash flow. We're on to number 4, which is all about inventory. And what we see here in terms of mistakes that businesses make is actually holding inventory too long, or not even understanding what the average cycle in terms of how you're turning over inventory in your business is. This is a critical thing for business owners to understand, certainly where you are in a business which is holding inventory, because essentially that inventory represents cash that otherwise could be in your bank account. So it's something that you need to manage and measure really, really closely. So how you manage that in your business will have a direct relationship on the cash flow and the way that the cash moves throughout your business. So my tips when it comes to managing inventory are these. The first one is around how long on average you're holding your inventory. And for those businesses in this situation, if you have inventory for 90 days or more, then what I would suggest is you start looking at strategies in terms of how you can move that inventory faster. Now, in order to know that number, you've got to be able to have some sort of system where you're tracking inventory. So if you are managing inventory in your business and you don't have a system, a software platform that actually manages that inventory, then that's got to be your starting point. You need to have a platform or a system that manages inventory, because it's going to tell you this sort of information. You'll be able to see how long on average you're holding inventory items, and when they tick over to 90 days, then that's the trigger for you to start moving that inventory faster. So you might want to start a sales campaign, you might want to look at some discounting, but ultimately if you're holding it for longer than 90 days, that is starting to cost you a significant amount of cash flow in your business. The second thing that I think you need to consider is actually matching your payment terms in terms of your inventory. So when you're buying inventory, and if you're a business that actually does have a fairly long cycle in terms of you're holding inventory for a long time because it's a big item, then consider, can you actually negotiate better payment terms that probably stretch out the supplier payment, but then in essence what that's doing is closing the gap in terms of how much cash you're out of pocket for when you're trying to turn over that inventory. So consider the payment terms with your suppliers. Not always something that you have a lot of control over, but certainly if you can negotiate that, stretch it out, that's going to help with that inventory management in terms of cash flow. And the final thing that you need to consider when it comes to inventory is actually how you're buying your inventory. So once you actually understand the cycle of your inventory and how much stock you're going to need month on month to sell, then you can actually buy it a little bit smarter. So you don't want to be in a situation where you're having to constantly place orders and pay cash up front for your inventory. Ideally, if you buy in bulk, you're going to be able to get discounts, which is going to improve your margins when you're selling. But also, in order to buy in bulk, you've got to understand how much inventory you do actually need. So you've got to try and get that quantity right. You don't want to overestimate and you don't want to underestimate. So these 3 things are really key in terms of helping to manage that cash flow in your business where you are inventory based. If you don't have a management system in terms of managing inventory, then that has to be your starting point so you can see this information and you can really make an impact in terms of your cash flow going forward.
For more information about improving your financial literacy or Acceler8's financial education workshops, please visit www.acceler8program.com.au.